to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. You can also find the show on the major platforms of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and you can find it on marketingpulpit.com. And thank you again for joining the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. I'm actually a business developer by trade. I actually develop businesses. Exactly what it sounds like. You can go to gatewoodmarketing.com and find out more about the company and me. Also go to marketingpulpit.com. You can watch the show really right on the homepage of the radio of the website. And you can also get the show on Facebook. You can get it on LinkedIn. You can get it on Twitter. And you can get the Marketing Pulpit Show on YouTube, where we have an exhaustive categorization of the show. You can search by topic, by guest, by time of the year. So you're on the right place. You can also join the conversation by calling 1-800-450-7876. 1-800-450-7876, because we are broadcasting live through Radio 1, 95.9 FM out of Silver Spring, Maryland. Miss Kathy Hughes and company. I want to thank everybody over there. Miss Karen Jackson, the manager over there, and Mr. Ron Thompson and the engineer, Alonzo. So thank you to the Radio 1 family. We've got a lot going on today, a very exciting show. We're coming out of Black History Month, and we're going into Women's History Month. It's all about seasons. Matter of fact, there's a good tie-in coming up later on. We're going to talk about seasons. Are you manifesting? Are you taking advantage? Seasons that are occurring. Okay, the seasons in your life. Are you just letting those seasons happen nilly-willy? Or do you have the power to create your own seasons? We're going to talk about that later in the show, so you don't want to miss that. Let's speak about some of the observances that are taking place in the month of March. So this is the first show of March 2023, and we're kicking it off with Women's History Month. It's an annual declared holiday it's a month that celebrated in the United States, Canada, and Australia, celebrating accomplishments and contributions of women throughout history. It also corresponds with International Women's Day, which is March 8th of this month. It started out in 1978 as Women's History Day, sort of like what happened with Carter G. Woodson in 1926 for Negro History Week. And it was championed by Gerda Lerner, and it was officially recognized in 1987 as an official month of recognizing women and their contributions. And there have been many. I don't like to get in these arguments about people saying, well, if you celebrate women, you're taking away from Black history, and everybody is trying to get in on the action. Well, if anybody's doing good work, if they're pursuing justice, if they're advancing mankind, womankind, and making this world a better place, they should be recognized and celebrated. And women are definitely no exception. I know many Black women have had the honor and the benefit of having these back-to-back occasions. So I think they're deserving, and I'm glad to champion the Black History and the Black Women's Month and everybody that's affected. And the thing about these holidays and these months and these celebrations, it's not just for the group that's being recognized. It's for all of us. When we embrace greatness, it helps us all. It helps our children. It helps build a better society when we recognize greatness from whatever form. And so I once again say hats off and championing the cause of Black women of all color, Black people of all gender, and just people that are doing the right thing. That's what we talk about on this show. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and do it right. And later in the show, we're going to talk about doing it at the right time because of your season. Now, there's some other recognitions and observances this month. There's Endometriosis Awareness Month, Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month, Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, Brain Injury Awareness Month. So we make these announcements to draw attention to these awarenesses, to make sure that people are aware that people are out here. Some people have some type of affliction or challenges, and that we should give them their due and assist in any way we can. We can join organizations, we can support the causes, we can make donations. So anytime we celebrate greatness, we also have to celebrate those who have particular challenges that might put them at a slight disadvantage, but we still push greatness nonetheless. I'd like to also recognize our sponsor, BLE Executive Suites. They are one of the pivotal sponsors of this show. Matter of fact, BLE is having their first Friday networking event today over in Largo, Maryland. You can go to marketingpulpit.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see a banner. Click on that, and Miss Bernadette Clay and her staff and myself, we'll be there talking about the law of attraction, the faith muscle. We're going to talk about seasons. We're going to talk about the greatness of women. And so this is an event you can come out today and participate if you're in the Washington, D.C. area. There's no charge for the event. I'll be there. And Miss Bernadette Clay, who has been amazingly successful, she's one of those examples of women greatness that we're talking about today. She has the BLE Executive Suites. She has the 3 locations, one in Largo, one in College Park, which is a hub zone, and there's one in National Harbor. And this sister is really doing it. She is the embodiment of woman greatness and Black greatness. We're glad to have her as a sponsor, and we're glad to have her at this event today at 11:30 today until 1 o'clock. Food is there, a chance to network, put yourself in front of some amazing people. So come on out. You can also go to blesuites.com, click on the events banner. You can also go to marketingpulpit.com. We have a banner on the homepage for the BLE Executive Suites. They also have they have a special right now for those people who have a business and they're trying to get off the ground. If you want somebody to, if you need a mailbox, some place where your mail can be dropped off, somebody to answer your phones, things like that. They also have the private offices, but they have right now a special for anyone who starts with their mailbox services. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to give up my personal mailbox to all these strangers and people out here. So BLE gives you that professional appearance, and they have a special right now, 2 months free when you take advantage of their mailbox services. So you want to take advantage of that, just tell them Robert Gatewood at the Marketing Pulpit sent you over, and they'll be glad to take care of you. Also, Gatewood Marketing and Gatewood Marketing and Web, we have our web services. If you need a domain name, you need hosting, you need an SSL certificate, all types of web needs, check us out at gatewood.biz, and you can actually get your domain. If you haven't registered your personal name yet, you want to go ahead and do that. We have these services right here in our community. You don't have to go to GoDaddy and Network Solutions and Google, when we have the same services right here in our community. So you can check that out by going to gatewood.biz, get your web services. I see some people on the line right now who've taken advantage of our services. As a matter of fact, good morning, Brother Brown. Glad to have you joining us this morning. He has been a regular supporter of the show. It's a plumbing service. Glad to have him join us weekly. And attorney Bradley Thomas, and he is one of our most ardent supporters. Glad to have Brother Thomas. We see Platinum, the comedian. That's Marilyn Franklin. She is also a regular supporter of the show. Glad to have you joining us this morning. And if you want to participate, if you want me to shout you out, just drop your name in the feed. I can see the numbers, but I won't see your name until you actually make a comment. But I see people are tuning in from Facebook, from YouTube, from Twitter, and from LinkedIn, and welcome to the show. We got an exciting topic coming up today. We're going to talk about seasons. We're going to talk about seasons and the importance of seasons and how you can tap into the magic of the seasons. It's all kinds of different seasons, and we're going to talk about that after the break. Have a couple of items in the news we want to talk about quickly, just to keep you abreast of what's going on. Speaking of women, the gender pay gap for women and men, between women and men, it still persists. I don't like it. It's not fair. It's not right. There is no reason under the sun why, in a just society, that women should be paid 80% of what men are paid. The only thing I can equate that or somewhat try to make sense out of it is because men are mostly the ones in power, and they're making the rules. Seems a little bit of a conflict of interest, if you ask me. You're the one in power, and you're the one making sure you get paid more. And the same thing applies when we're talking about Black history. So, but this pay gap between men and women has been persistent. It had actually moved for quite a while. Then a few years ago, it kind of got stuck again. And some of that could have happened due to the pandemic, when many women had to and go back to the child rearing mode where they had been before able to go to work and leave the kids with caretakers. So we as a society can do better. We have some smart people in this country, and if it's something we wanted to fix, we could fix it like many other things. What's the old adage? If you can put a man on the moon, you can fix this pay disparity between men and women. Also, let's see here. Here's a story I just have to throw in here now. War in the workplace. Grandmother of 11 dies after a botched BBL, and the surgeon was fined $10,000 and forced to attend a mandatory lecture. I just go back to this, and this is just not a man, it's just not a woman thing, but I think we have to be more appreciative of who we are and not be chasing this image that we see on Facebook and TikTok and all these different places. There's no reason that a grandmother should be suffering this type of fate. And so I think as a society, we have to encourage people to accept who they are and be proud of who they are and not be going all down to the DR and these other places trying to become something that you're not. And finally, on the news, before we go to our break, there's a lawmaker in Tennessee who apologized after suggesting bringing back the hanging tree as a form of execution. I mean, first of all, you shouldn't be executing people. The state should not be in the business of killing people. I know some people have done some horrible things, but killing is wrong no matter who does it. And then to have a legislator to advocate hanging people, and we know the sordid past associated, particularly among blacks, of this hanging tree. This kind of tells you where some of these people in this country are in their mindset. So we don't want to condone that, and we admonish in the strongest terms. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about seasons. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a moment. And we are back. I had to say it several times. I'm Robert Gatewood. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I'm a business developer by trade. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web, located in the Washington, D.C. area in Largo, Maryland. I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College, where I teach marketing, social media and digital marketing, and networking. recently I've been selected to assist over at the Employ Prince George's at the National Harbor, where I'm teaching a course over there on the power of branding. And just yesterday, signed up for the Women's Business Center at the Bowie Innovation Center at the Women's Maryland Business Center at the University of at Bowie University, where I'm also going to be doing a course on digital marketing coming up in April. And of course, you can go to marketingpulpit.com and find out more about what's going on and where I'm going to be appearing next. It goes back to that seasons thing. Sometimes your season just happens. It just happens. And you sometimes sitting around wondering, why did all of a sudden the phone just started ringing? Why all of a sudden people are knocking on the door? Things are just happening all at once. Well, folks, what has happened is probably you are actually in a season. You're in a season. I remember this song by the Byrds a long time ago. This song called Turn, Turn, Turn. There is a season, turn, turn, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Talked about the time to be born, the time to die, the time to plant, and the time to reap. I really like that line. A time to plant and a time to reap. A time to laugh and a time to weep. So this season, is this something that just happens haphazardly, something we have no control over? But when you think about it, there are all kinds of seasons, okay? From November to January, it's like the holiday season. Everybody's in a festive mood and eating like crazy. We've just really moved from the season of celebrating Black excellence to a season of highlighting the accomplishments and contributions of amazing women. There are the celestial seasons. Like later in this month, we're going to be moving into spring, coming out of winter, going into a different season. Also next month, it's going to be tax season. Good old IRS. These are seasons. There's seasons like strawberry seasons. Like from the middle of May to the end of June, there's a strawberry season. And the list goes on and on. And in business, sometimes we call season cycles, like the industry life cycle or product life cycle, where you go from the introduction to the growth, to the maturity, to the decline. So these are seasons. Now, one thing we know about seasons is that if we properly align our efforts with the seasons, you can experience a cataclysmic shift in your productivity and your earnings, for that matter. But the season thing is pretty powerful. Now, the good thing about seasons, and one of the things I like about them the most, is that they're very predictable. And you can plan for their arrival. For example, if you're an accountant, it's no surprise that you're going to see an uptick in your business as April 15th gets closer. Okay? If you're a baker, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to know that from October, end of October, up to January, you're going to sell a pretty good, significant number of pies and cakes because of the season. Okay? If you're in the diet business, people have consumed all these pies and cakes and muffins and turkey and cranberry. There is a diet season in January to March. And then they lapse and they pick back up around swimsuit season. These are seasons. So what I'm talking about today is seasons and how you can benefit from the seasons. Now, because we are aware of the seasonality and the cyclical nature of seasons, we don't want to wait until that season is here before we start planning for it. We already know it's coming. And because we know that, because your season is upon you, be prepared to work longer hours. Okay, you can't spread out this work. You can't say, look, well, I'm going to, because it's Thanksgiving here, I'm going to spread out this turkey production to 12 months, or I'm going to spread out this tax work over the 12 months. No, you have to prepare for the season. So be prepared to work longer hours. Be prepared to spend more money in preparation of the season so that you're not caught off guard. And be prepared to shift your resources and priorities, things like inventory, staff, your advertising, supplies. Those are things that are incumbent with the season that you should be preparing because you know the season is coming. Now, if you play your cards right and synthesize the seasons with your efforts, you can succeed beyond your wildest expectations. And that's what I'm here to tell you today about seasons. Okay? Now, when you sit here and think about it, let's give this some thought for a minute. Let me marinate on this. This season thing is really, it's the real deal. Since it's so magical and so powerful, why should you leave something that's such a big game changer to the whims of external forces? Why should you leave that to the weather, to Santa Claus, to the IRS? No, we're smarter than that. Why don't we create our own seasons? Can we create our own seasons? The answer is not only can we, but we must create our own seasons. So how do we do it? Let's use this example of the strawberries, for instance. Okay, we said the strawberry season is right from middle of May to June. Okay, you must plan and plant seeds in order to benefit from the magic of seasons. Sometimes a season will sneak up on you. You look up one day and the phone just rang and people are calling you from everywhere. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. You could be a accountant, you could be a web designer, you could be a model, you could be an attorney, a roofer. You say, where is all this business coming from? Because what you may not have realized is that you are planting seeds, even when you didn't realize it. That's why you're in this season. It doesn't happen nilly-willy. But what you want to do is harness the power of planting and planning to make sure that those seasons happen. Okay? So let's think about this for a minute. Seasons are like a harvest. There's a harvest at the end of a season, particularly if we're talking about an example, like we talked about the strawberries. That can happen to you too. So what you want to do is to plant seeds. If you like this season concept, which you should, if you want to benefit from it, and you should, then the answer is to plant seeds. You do that by marketing, by making connections, by doing good work, by letting people know what you do, by giving back to the community, by serving. When you are doing these things, you are planting seeds that will bear fruit. So what you want to do, as I close up on this particular topic, you want to take advantage of the seasons that already exist. And there are many. Like I said, some are made particularly around your industry. If you're a tax preparer, then your season is coming up. But you don't wait until April 14th to start preparing. You drop those seeds year-round. You want to smooth out some of the work. Okay? So take advantage of the existing seasons and create the seasons of your own making. And if you do this and you play your cards right, you will exceed beyond your wildest dreams. And that's my topic on seasons for today. Thank you again. What we're going to do, I'm going to shift gears for a minute and talk about something that's been happening. And I'm going to do an entire show upon it. But it's been on, a lot of people asking me this question all the time, and that is about content and repurposing some of the content that they have. If you don't already, let's say if you have a Gmail account and you don't have a YouTube account, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and get that account because of the way that you can actually start putting your messages out in front of people. If you created like a long video, this like this show was a half hour long. Last week we did one about an hour long. No matter how much people love me, sometimes they don't want to sit through an entire hour of Robert Gatewood. But what they do want to do, all people want to do, they want to hear what's relevant to them. So you want to take one of the tools that you can use. Let's say if you have a YouTube account, take that video, put it on YouTube, and then create what we call clips or shorts. Now, a clip is more horizontal in nature and is good for sharing outside of the YouTube platform. You create a clip, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and you can share it on your Facebook page. You can share it on Instagram. You can share it on LinkedIn by the push of a button. The shorts are more for promoting within the YouTube platform. So a short, same thing, 15, 30, 60 seconds, and it's more portrait in nature, really built for the cell phone to combat TikTok and some of the other platforms that are focusing on short-term video. So what you want to do is use these tools and go ahead and put your message out there, particularly if you have a lot of content. Good morning to Brand Leader Model. Thank you for joining us this morning, and everybody else who's tuning in. And so what we're going to do, we have 1 minute left. What I'd like to do is thank everybody. Also, don't forget to come out to the BLE Executive Suites having their first Friday this afternoon from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Thank you for all of the first-time listeners. I see the numbers, and the numbers are growing. Tell somebody, and we are going to be launching the Marketing Pulpit Business Directory this month. So when people calling me asking how to find a plumber or a good lawyer, I'm going to say, go to Marketing Pulpit Business Directory. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you again for tuning in. This is the Marketing Pulpit. We'll be back next week at the same time. And if you want to be successful, you got to do these 3 things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Man, you got to serve at all times. Let me tell you something, folks. You can't go wrong by serving. Female workers report higher stress. And that's a non-story. I mean, we've always known that. But what are companies going to do about it? Much of the burden of this pandemic has been borne by females. They're the primary caretakers in most cases. They were already underpaid. They were on the front line in many of these jobs. So naturally, we're seeing 74% of women say they're somewhat stressed for work-related reasons compared to just 61% of men. We've got to do better, ladies and gentlemen. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours, and a few other benefits to level this problem out. So we know the problem. Now, what are we going to do about it as a society? A right to choose is really a woman's fundamental right. She has the right to decide what she does with her body. And it's amazing that the people that seem to have the biggest issue with this are certain men. That alone should be suspect. They are all about the sanctity of life. Seem to have little regard to life when we flooding our streets with weapons and guns. Not so concerned about life when it comes to health insurance. They're not so concerned about life when it comes to better pay, which give you quality of life, better choices of food, health, and housing that can extend your life. So this whole thing about Roe v. Wade and its right to choose is steeped in hypocrisy. And we shouldn't fall for it. Once they start taking away the women's rights, who's next? Is Brown versus Board of Education next?